Good evening, friends. Good evening, listeners and viewers of TDN Radio and This Week in Interview. Welcome back to another episode of This Week in Interview with your host and guide, Anthony Drago. It's a wonderful, wonderful time, as always, to be with you for this hour, sometimes a little longer, uh, to have that time with you, to share that time and space with my guests, and to invite you in on our conversation. Uh, those of you who come back every Wednesday, welcome, welcome back. I always appreciate the fact that you make time to be with us on a Wednesday, and I really, really appreciate it. Those of you who are tuning into this week in interview for the first time this week, my, how would you say it? My unabashed objective is to make you a regular on this week in interview because I think we have some of the best programs. And we our aim is just to educate you on politics, on economics, especially on your health, and just in what's going on around us. Sometimes I bring folks on just for what they are into, what they've done, what they are doing, the training that they have, what makes them interesting. And so tonight is no exception. I have a wonderful conversation on tap for you. Uh, I have a very special author. Uh, she has written a book. I believe it took a lot of courage and a lot of bravery to write the book because self-described as a memoir, pretty much a documentation of her life. And when you read it, you'll find out that is holding nothing back. And so I put myself in those shoes and figure if I would be able to develop the courage to do something similar. But we're going to have a conversation with her about it. She's young. She's relatively young, younger than me for sure. And we her book uh, takes us into her life and how she's able to assimilate all her experiences that probably makes her wise beyond her years. And so we are in for a treat. In Dominica, if you're listening to me on RVR Jams Radio, DigiPlay Channel 59, welcome. And in the Toronto market, online radio SBE, in the Toronto market carries this weekend interview live. We also is live on our YouTube channel. This weekend interview has its own YouTube channel. So this weekend interview, if you search there, you will find it. Sometimes you have to add the Anthony Drago. So this weekend interview, Anthony Drago, you get it. We are on Facebook. Also, TDN Media. We are on TDN Media. So if you already are a subscriber to TDN Media, you should have no issues finding us. But whichever one that you listening to us on, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that notification so you can know when this weekend interview is live, as well as when our other great programming on TDN Media is on as well. So without much further ado, apart from encouraging you to invite two or three people to join the program with you, I want to go ahead and introduce my guest. As I said, my guest tonight is Miss Dale Dixon, but she wrote a book, and at the time she wrote that book, she was Dale Alexander. So I'm going to stick the Alexander in the middle so that you don't get confused when you go to get your copy of the book. She is Dale Alexander Dixon. And she wrote a book, and the title of the book is Bravo Dale, uh, The Undressed Truth. And that's what brought her to my attention. I saw that she had written the book, and I contacted her, and she willingly agreed to come on the program to talk to us about herself, about the book, and whatever else that I get inspired to ask her. Before I bring her on, also, I notice that she is recently wed. She's newlywed. Uh, probably still fresh from a honeymoon, or maybe still on the honeymoon. She will tell us if she chooses to. But congratulations and blessings on your
Thank
union.
you.
Very long, very, very long and joyful union. So congratulations and blessings to you and your husband. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, so I really appreciate you asking me to come on this show. I am thankful to be here. I am Dale Alexander Dixon. Uh, I never saw myself being on any program like this, but I really appreciate when he contacted me and I happily agreed. So let's just
And I am happy, I'm
have.
thrilled that you agreed. And since we're just getting to know each other,
Mhm.
along with our audience, I'm going to invite you to tell us what you want us to know about you. Who is Dale? Who is Mrs. Dale Dixon?
Okay, so I'll try to brief it up in a summary. So Dominican Dale Alexander grew up in Goodwill. Went to the Seventh Adventist Primary School, further on to grammar school, then on to Portsmouth Secondary School. Then I did 1 year of college at the Caribbean University in Trinidad Adventist College, and then I had to withdraw for some personal reasons. And then I started a career as a nurse, graduated in 2010. And from since then, I've been practicing nursing. Um, I love people, I love family, I love to serve. And this book will tell you a lot about me that brought me to this point.
So you're a nurse, right? That's what you said. You're still a
Yes,
nurse. Okay.
yes, I'm a nurse.
All right. Are you located in You're not in Dominica, right?
No, I'm not in Dominica.
Okay.
In Tortola.
You're in Tortola. How long have you been a nurse?
For the past 15 from
Oh wow.
2010.
Oh wow. 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 You love your profession?
Love it. Love it. I don't see myself doing any other thing than nursing. Before I became a nurse, I actually did business administration and I never felt fulfilled until I started the profession as a nurse.
Right, right, right. What do you like about nursing so much?
Um, the fact that I could help people. I love people, as I initially said. There are a lot of people who go through illnesses and things that my skill and my knowledge is or has helped. Um, I self claim to be a very good nurse. So I like to use my skill because I thought at one point I could never make anything of myself. And I got into this noble profession and I see where I am contributing to people's lives. So this is all I can do.
Wow, wow. So you're in this for 15 years, and if after 15 years you are expressing so much passion and love for the profession, I guess that's it. It's settled. You were destined. You found your calling. You were destined to be a nurse. And even if you say you are a good nurse in 15 years, you would have gotten enough complaints from your patients, right? That they would have disproved that theory from now. I guess with
Mhm.
nursing, because I've interviewed quite a few of people in the healthcare field. As a matter of fact, there was one time every once a month, I think we used to do a program, and I used to have a nurse
Mhm.
co-host it with me. It was a health program, and we would bring an expert in whatever field that we were going to be speaking about. And I
Mhm.
felt I wanted to bring somebody in the field to ask the questions that I may not know to ask because I'm not in the profession myself.
Mhm.
And so we did that for about a year. So we have about a year's worth of health interviews on everything from type 2 diabetes, childhood obesity, mental health,
Yes,
men's
yes.
health, gastroenterology. just name it, sickle cell. Actually, I think I'm saying that now, and I think it would be a good idea to encourage folks to go into our archives and listen to those interviews, because everything that we did, when we did kidneys, we had a nephrologist. When we,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
when we did hormones, we had an endocrinologist.
Interesting.
So those are really, really valuable interviews. That's there. So I think one of the things about nursing is that you get to deal with people when they are the most physically vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to deal with them in what maybe would be the worst state of their life.
Of health, mm-hmm. Of
Yeah,
physical
well,
health, sometimes mental health as
sometimes
well.
mental, and so you get to do that. So you're very empathetic and very observant person. And so, do you think that is what uh, puts you on the path to where you would write a book about your life and be able to be so vulnerable as you are in that book?
Yes, because I've understood life as it is. My most recent employment is in the correctional facility.
Mm.
So I dealt with the hardcores, prisoners, and I realized that they're just as soft, kind, and like any regular person,
Are they human beings?
they are human beings,
Right.
right? Um, Being a nurse in that environment has taught me. Somewhere in the book, it explains why I went there. It wasn't a good reason why I went there. But while being there, I learned so much about myself that writing this book was not by chance. It was a place for me to open up myself and be vulnerable. And even before I went into that environment, having put all of my thoughts into that book, I could identify with these young people in the prison setting.
Right. So you think that your experience before that assignment prepared you for that assignment, but once you got into the assignment, it transformed you in a sense.
Into a different person.
Did it make you more empathetic? Did it make you more sympathetic? What?
It made me realize that we are all on the same level.
Hmm.
We're all just human beings, all needing the same thing. We need love, we need attention, we need an environment, we need family. It just opened my mind to so much. I mean, you hear the news and you hear of situations around you, but being and working in the environment, my chair was the Dead Sea. Everything that came in here stayed there. That was my opportunity to connect with my inner self.
Right. So did that? I know some folks say that when you're in a job like that, after a while you experience burnout because you get to absorb everybody's pain. Do you? How long have you been in that position?
I 2.5 years.
2.5 years. Okay.
Yes, I can identify with that because there are times when I just needed to take a break. And my co-worker and myself, I started with a gentleman, a male nurse. We would call it a mental day. So
Hmm.
between the both of us, without our supervisors knowing, he would say, "Listen, I need a mental day today." And then he would say, "When do you want to take your mental day?" So we just allowed ourselves to take that day just for regrouping, just for re-energizing and coming back to the clinic.
And that is so important because read about all the statistics about caregivers. Because in a
Hmm.
sense, you are, well, not in a sense, you're a nurse, you're a caregiver.
Right.
And so sometimes the caregiver ends up, uh, ha, you know, sometimes getting worse than the patients that they're taking care of because they have so much coming down on them.
So much, yes. they take away from you. They take away physically, they take away mentally, emotionally.
Emotionally.
When your patients, I don't call them inmates because I try to separate their incarceration from my duties.
Right.
So I call them my patients. So when my patients come in, and even when there are times they are so upset about very, very, very simple things, it takes so much from you. You just want to be human and just tell them off. But you have to calm yourself and try as much to de escalate any situation that has potential to get out of hand.
Wow. You know, it's so important to have that conversation because I am. It was less so in the Caribbean, but it's still that way. Especially we have that history of enslavement and so on, where in order to justify brutalizing a group of human beings, we have to demonize them. We have to make them appear to be monsters, so
And
that
they're
the,
not.
the, the people who are doing the brutalizing have to make us. They have to convince us that these people are monsters. So when they were in slavery, the people involved in the slavery industry and having slaves had to convince the rest of humanity that black people are not humans. They are
Mm,
monsters. If you give them a chance, the only thing they're going to do is just atrocious starting to themselves and to each other and so on. And so
mm,
therefore it becomes easier to accept. I think similarly we do that where we paint a picture that if somebody is in prison, they're in prison because they are a bad person. And so a lot of times in society we're not able to look beyond just that. So
right.
someone comes and somebody will say, Mr. was in prison, he just came out of jail, and
Hmm.
immediately that's the only thing we
Stereotype.
see.
Yes.
we
Yes.
wouldn't we don't want we don't want them in our business as an employee. We don't want them in our homes as a tenant. We don't want them in our families as an in-law.
Hmm.
So people like you who work in the system and see them and able to come back out with that message that reminds us, hey, those people are just humans, just like us, and we
Hmm.
should see that. So, do you how do you get to talk about that to folks, and when you do you get pushback
About the prison
about
setting.
just us just looking at these people differently and not just this typical stereotype that they must be bad. That's the only way. Only bad people end up there. Only monsters.
Mm, because it's a prison, you're reminded that they are criminals,
Right.
right? So if you, I wouldn't say friendly, but if you're very cordial to an inmate, an officer will pull you up, you know? You shouldn't be. You shouldn't. You have to remember that they are criminals. But when over 10 patients come to you and say, Nurse, you treat us like people, it resonates with you. Yes, they have committed crimes. Yes, they are criminals, but they are first humans before
Right.
they were criminals.
Right.
And even talking about that, what hits me to my core is I could have been two places I could have ended up, in the asylum or in the prison. And whether I would be blamed, of course, there are repercussions for actions. But whether I had no control or not, those were the places I saw myself heading until I had to solely pull myself together. It didn't take family, it didn't take the church, it didn't take a community, it didn't take a man. It took everything within me to find me to take me to where I am now.
Right. And so let's go into the book then, because I feel like that's a perfect way to segue into what the book is about. W-
Mhm.
Let's talk about the title first of all. The title of the book is Bravo Dale. You know,
Yes, yes, yes.
just you. Why that? Why
So
that title?
I could talk about the entire book, the page, the front
Hmm.
cover. So I have it here
Hmm.
with me.
Hmm.
Um, the color of the book is a dark story.
Hmm.
And my daughter was the one who actually encouraged me to put it in dark, but I had to associate it with something that I can't speak about. So the color of the book is dark because my story, I felt it was dark, right?
Hmm.
But somewhere in my dark, traumatizing story, there was always some light over me. I felt that there's something different about me. There's something vibrant about me. There's something that people are not seeing, but I always felt this light over me. Um, at the point where I decided to write the book, I was at a very emotional state. I felt abandoned. I was angry. I was confused. All those things seemingly looked good for me. I was just not. I was there, but I was not there. So I came up with the words Bravo Deal with two meanings. We know that Bravo Deal is you've done well, bravo, bravo.
Hmm.
But in our local parlance, Bravo is Bravo Deal.
Yep,
mm, yeah, so
there's that
it's
too.
like a
Yeah.
negative thing to it. So I will hear about you, Bravo Deal.
Hmm. Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, but because I was writing it for an audience not just limited to Dominica, the Bravo Deal also signifies the good work.
Bravo,
I
bravo.
read somewhere in some book that my sign would never write a book, and I proved that wrong.
Your sign.
My sign, Aquarius, we would never write a book. We
Mm.
start and we never finish, and
Wow.
I had to finish it to prove it wrong. But anyway, so this is why the book is named Bravo Dale. Then the undressed truth. This picture literally is what is stated down there. I had my husband with me, so he was my partner at the time. So at the studio, I was literally undressed. The reason for the name undressed is because I find you could say candid, you could say um, naked, but to me, it's too cliche. So I had to go away from the norm and I had to undress it because really I was undressing everything I could remember, everything I knew about myself because I was at a place that I needed to break free and I didn't know how to break free. I didn't know how. I can continue. Do you want me to?
Sure, sure.
So I have seen people when they go through trauma,
Hmm.
when they go through bad experiences, they I have had my share of naughtiness. A lot of people do some questionable things. And then when they seem to find themselves, they go into songwriting, they go into comedy, they go into different art forms,
Poetry. Hmm.
poetry, and all of that.
Hmm.
And I was not good at any. Even if I sang, I was not. I didn't see myself as a soloist. And but I was always able to write, and I wrote my thoughts. When I was upset, I would sit and just write. Um, my most professional piece of paper would be a university paper,
Right.
sociology paper you write. At university you have all these projects you have to submit. So those are my only um, exposure to really writing professionally, and or what do you call that? Not professional, academically.
Right.
And but I was told you write well, you articulate well, you speak well,
And that's evident in
and
the book as well, by the way. Yeah.
right. And I always thought that there must be something that I can do that will be recognized. There must be something that I can do. And even if the process was to free myself of a lot of hurt, it also exhibited my art,
Right.
right? So, in a nutshell, it came together because of all the factors that I explained. Bravo Dale is doing well for myself, defying the odds that I could never write in my life. The picture depicts what is inside the book. I know it's not very palatable to people. I know it's not the best choice of words. And if I had to write it again, I would have probably done it
Would you
differently.
really?
Um,
No.
you would like to say no, but probably I
Mm.
would have used different terms and whatnot. The way I wrote it, I was really in a emotional broken
In that
state.
space at the time, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
And after writing it, I felt, wow, hmm, I feel better. I really feel better. Should I even publish that book? And my editor said to me, what? You have done so much work. Why you would even think of not publishing it? You know? And I'm just happy. Let me give him a shout out if he's listening. I don't want to say the name now. um,
You know who he
but
is.
yes, he knows who he is.
Mhm.
So I'm thankful that he actually encouraged me to do it. And while we're on this, I just want to shout out my daughter, Nikela Carbon, and my husband, my loving husband, Derek Dixon,
Your brand
and my
new husband.
mom, my brand new husband, my whole husband. Yes. So yes. So that's how I came up with the design and the name of the book.
Name of the book, The
Mm,
Undressed Truth.
truth.
Bravo, Dale. If you're joining us late or after we started, my guest tonight is Mrs. Dale
Dale Dixon.
Alexander Dixon. She's with us because she wrote a book that's entitled Bravo, Dale, The Undressed Truth. And she's here to talk to us about it. It's a book that she, in the beginning, she started off with her childhood growing up in Dominica. I would say a typical Dominica home. Uh, in a sense, I say typical, where it seems like church was right center in there. Neighborhood, really, if you grew up in Dominica, your neighborhood was your home. I mean, you go into a house to sleep, but your street, your block, whatever you want to call it, was actually your home because everybody in that it was like siblings, and
Mhm.
so that comes out really clearly, and we really feel like we're growing up with Dale as she matures. Obviously, all of us went through that where in our head we're much more mature than we actually are, and then we discover that, and her beginnings of her career as an adult and she goes into a lot of the family dynamics and all of that. It's a wonderful read. I encourage you to get your copy. And I always do that when I have offers on. I always encourage you to go get your copy. The book is actually available on Amazon. So Dale, why don't we do that? Because we're pushing up on a break. So
Mhm.
before we take the break, I want you to tell listeners how they can get a copy of Bravo Dale, The Undressed Truth.
Okay, so the book is available on Amazon. Do you want me to share the cost?
If you feel like it, yeah.
Okay, so the cost is 1977, my year of birth, and the e copy is 4.99 or 5.99. Can't remember right now. Um, so yes, it's available on Amazon. I attempted to have one or two bookstores in Dominica carry the book, but that did not come through just yet. But I'm still in the process of having it available for anybody who wants to read it in Dominica.
So as you're saying that and saying about having it in bookstores, let me just, and you'll see during the commercial break, TDN, myself and Sam and a few other folks, Nicole Georges, and a few other groups are organizing a virtual uh, literary festival
Mm,
from September 15th to the 20th. And so I will send you the information for that because I think it
mhm,
would be great. And any other writers who are in the audience,
mhm,
you are invited to participate. It's going to be virtual. It will involve a lot of exposure of our writers and their work. We'll have workshops as well as we'll have panel discussions on the various aspects of writing and publishing and every type of writing,
mhm,
novels, nonfiction, poetry, and so on. So look out for that, folks, from September 15th to the 20th. And I see my producer is splashing on there. While we're taking the break, take the time to subscribe to our TDN and This Week in Interview page if you listen on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're listening. And let's take a quick break, hear from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to dive into this wonderful book, and I know you're going to be convinced to get your copy because Dale is a pretty interesting person, and the book is about her life. And I think most of us will find some kind of self identity with her journey. And so we'll discuss that when we come back. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Presented by.
People say I've got a great smile. Well, I have to say, this is all thanks to the professional team at Beacon Dental Group right here in Dorchester, Massachusetts. I've got world-class dental care. Beacon Dental Group has expert and caring staff dedicated to providing the most advanced and satisfactory treatment in all aspects of oral health. Their services are designed to meet your needs and give you a perfect smile, too. General checkups, cosmetic surgery, Gemini laser service, and advanced procedures, all in a state-of-the-art facility. Call or visit Beacon Dental Group today, 1026 Blue Hill Avenue, Dorchester, Massachusetts, or call 617-282-2146 for a smile that lights the world.
Looking to promote your business, engage current customers, and reach new people? Well, look no further. From the basic presentation to a fully fledged advertisement, use your video ads to attract customers. At Man's Audiovisual Productions, we do just that. We produce videos for business and event promotions, product demo videos, animated explainer videos, fundraiser ads, and much, much more. Engage your clients and sell online. We customize the video to match your brand design. Guaranteed to play flawless on all devices, including smart TVs. Contact us at telephone number 203-690-4342 or 767-245-6238. Visit our website, mansaudiovisual.com, or email us at derekvideo@gmail.com.
Hey y'all, I just discovered an amazing plugin called Joan, Jock on Air Now, for managing my radio station's on-air schedule. It keeps your visitors updated on what's playing and when their favorite hosts are live. Trust me, Joan is the best choice for your WordPress site. There's a free version available in the WordPress repository and it's definitely worth trying. If you want even more features, Joan Premium lets you easily edit your schedule with just a click. No need to delete and re-add shows. Don't miss out on Joan. Get it now from the WordPress plugins repository or visit the developers at gndenterprisesinc.com for more info.
Writers, we need you. We've got exciting news. Get ready to immerse yourself in the exciting world of words at the Write to Kuhuli Virtual Literary Festival. From September 15th to 20th, 2025, we're showcasing the incredible talents of writers of Dominican descent. Join us for inspiring panels, thought-provoking workshops, captivating readings, all from the comfort of your own home. You can engage with your favorite authors, participate in workshops, and dive into discussions that spark your intellect and imagination. You don't want to miss out on this vibrant celebration of culture and creativity. Make sure to save the date, September 15th to 20th. Follow us on social media for updates. Let's hashtag Right to Kubali together. We're trending. Register now.
All right. So thank you for staying with us through the break. Uh, my guest this evening is Mrs. Dale Dixon. Her pen name for this book is Dale Alexander, which is her maiden name, Alexander being her middle name. And she's with us because she is the author of the book Bravo Dale, The Undressed Truth. And before the break, she was telling us about how, the not necessarily the inspiration, but the impetus for writing the book came from she always feeling that she, not always, but she felt like she was in a place of darkness, meaning that the energy, the vibration was not always uh, on a positive or upward trending. And one of the things that, one sentence that I saw when I was going through the book, she said, I had gotten so used to everything going wrong that the moment I had a good laugh, I would immediately feel sad. I think I think that sentence right there tells a good part of that story. And it's not that the book is all dark and sad, because obviously she's here with us and she triumphed and came out stronger on the other side. And so I don't want to give the impression that this book is about doom and gloom. It's about challenges that a young lady and struggles face, that could uh, take her in a direction that she was able to recognize and to paddle her own canoe, so to speak, to go in a different direction and to have a different outcome. But I don't know if you, I don't think it needs expounding on, but that sentence really stood out at me. I made a note of it. I said I had gotten so used to everything going wrong that the moment I had a good laugh, I would immediately feel sad. That's a pretty dark place. And so when you, how long did it take you to write the book? You muted there.
Sorry. It took me a little over 2 years and a half.
Hmm.
In total, including editing and everything, about
Right,
3 years.
about 3 years. So when you started the book and you were in a particular mindset, first of all, let me ask you: by the time you decided to write the book, were you already out of the dark and into the light, or did you start writing while you were still in that phase?
I started writing while I was in the heart of it, because somewhere in the preface, I spoke of the morning that I woke up on May 14th, 2022. I was just not in a good place. And I woke up to the wind and rain. And you would expect somebody to sleep very well during the rain, right? But my mind was just not at rest. And I was angry. If I could find the area that I said it, I woke up. My sleep should have been the sweetest and most peaceful then, but my mind sprung into active thinking, fueled with outrage, confusion, and disappointment. There was so much emotions when I started, and as I progressed, it just became more and more manageable.
Hmm. So you think the writing in itself was cathartic?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And
definitely.
and so, like, tell us about that process. When you were writing, did you feel like some people write and they say, I feel like I had maybe an invisible friend, or sometimes they have an actual person in mind that they feel like they were sitting with that person
No. For
talking.
me, I started because it was so emotional, and I usually fuel. I get fueled by my emotions. So when I started, it was just a natural flow. The words were just coming, and I was just writing and was writing, and then I transcribed it to the computer. But then, probably a year in, or probably 6 months in, I got writer's block, and I had basically finished the book in 6 months.
Hmm.
But when I got that moment of, oh God, the thoughts were just not, it was not flowing. Um, I reached out to my now editor. I had reached out to two persons because I wanted a ghost writer to assist me because I just couldn't find the words. And it was way too expensive. One was a fraud. So when I reached out to my editor, I told him I wanted a ghost writer, and he said he does not offer that service. However, if I want to complete the book, I need to do it myself. So everything in that book is they're my words. So I didn't know how I was going to finish the book because I think I had about 10 more chapters to
Wow.
write. And it was all in my head. I mean, the format and everything, I made an outline, everything was in my head. But I just could not get the words. And then he encouraged me, said, you know what? He read some of it and he said, you know, this is a good piece of work and I'm willing to take on the challenge to edit for you. So between work and home duties, I devised a plan. I took my phone and thank God for AI and I just spoke to it. I spoke to it. I went to the mirror, and for me to get to put myself back into the place that I was then, I went to the mirror, I looked at myself, I spoke, I had all the emotions and all the intonations, and I just spoke and sent it to him. Transcribed, of course, onto a Word document and sent to
Mm.
him. So the latter part of the book, he had quite a bit of editing to do because sometimes AI is not as friendly as we think. So, so the first part, and it became tedious for me because I'm kind of like a perfectionist. Well, I've been told so. So I tried to write and edit at the same time. But that was taking so much from me because every time I went over a chapter, I found errors, you know? And I mean, at one point, my editor said, "But you're human. You that means you wrote a book. So if there are one, 2 words, 3 words that is erroneous, I mean, you're human." And I'm like, no, I want it just that way, please.
Right.
So it took a little much from me, so I had to now revert to using my phone and transcribing back on the computer so that he could edit. And that process, probably that last process, took quite a bit of time because we had to go read over and over. We did it differently from other editors that I'm researched, where you send your work, they do the editing and they send it back to you, you read and they. But our because I knew him before, he really put an effort into my work. So every Friday we would call each other after I had completed the book and sent everything to him. We called every Friday and we read through chapter by chapter. He is really a good editor, and when the time comes, I will say who he is, and probably, you know, if persons need to contact him for that same service, they can.
Yeah, and I mean, let him also know about the festival that we're having because obviously it will be a collection of writers,
Hmm.
they would need folks with the experience of editing writers from a Dominican experience.
Hmm.
So you started writing the book because you were in a space where you felt you had a need to break out. I'm putting words in your mouth, but you need to break out of that space. At what point did you feel that it was turning around, that you were turning a corner, that this was manageable, and you could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and really starting to get that positive light coming in? At what point? How did you recognize, or did you go one day and look back and say, "Oh shit, it's not as bad as it was. I'm in a much better place now." Tell us about that
It
transition.
it is as bad as it was. It
Hmm.
was then.
Right.
But all the experiences that I went through has shaped me to the person I am now. So while writing the book, I had tears. Sometimes tears fell. Sometimes I I was pissed out, and I'm trying to figure out when I put the words down. Right, I'm trying to figure out, but how? How could you? How could I? Why? I still had a lot of questions. My I don't know if it's redemption, but my transition, or my ease of that emotional rush came when the book was actually finished and it was ready to be published. I started having second thoughts because you see, we grew up in a culture that women should be seen and not heard. We keep our family secrets. We don't talk about those things because you know we have to keep hush hush, and then you see people that seemingly have good lives, good families, they end up with cancer, diabetes, hypertension. They kill themselves, and we don't know. And we wonder, but she was a, but he was a. Where did that come from? People don't get the opportunity to be vulnerable. So we have to be prim and proper all the time. We have to say the right words. We have to be politically correct, you know. But what about your physical health? What about your mental health? When all the things, all the trauma that you have gone through, why people didn't take the time off to not affect you? And now that you're trying to get some kind of redemption, some kind of release, some kind of healing for yourself, they want to shut you down.
So, did you get some? Okay, when you wrote that book, I
Mhm.
mean, I know in the book you said that you changed some names to protect. You said innocent. I said I'm saying to protect the guilty. Um, did you? I know sometimes when I read works like that, the author says, "Well, before I published it, I went to my family members." Because obviously people know you, would know who your mom is, who your dad, your sisters, and so on. And so even if the names of other people are changed, they would know who these people are. Did you feel the need to? Did you do it? Did you say, "Hey, I'm writing this book. This is what I'm saying in the book"?
No, I
You didn't
didn't
do any
need
of
to.
that. Okay.
Reason being, um, this is not for Dominica alone.
Mm.
This is for the wider world. And the stories in there or the events in there, story sounds like fiction, but the events in there, the experiences I shared, a lot of people go through those things.
Yes.
A lot of people, and they're not so naked with it, they're not so open with it. So you say, I was abused. Define abuse. You know, I I was treated I was treated badly um, by you know somebody. Define that. So everybody has a story, and everybody had an experience, a bad experience, a traumatic experience. But mm, How do you get down to the nitty gritty of it? How do you free yourself of what it has created in you for so many years? Right? So until I got to that point of, you know what, I have to care. I have to take care of me. You understand? We run to doctors, we run to psychologists, psychiatrists, and everybody else. And we have the talent in our hand to free our own self. And if that freed me, I'm going to be writing some more.
Right. And you didn't feel like you owed anybody anything to have to get permission from them or
Why?
agreement from them.
Why do I?
Mhm.
Because let's say my husband's name is Nutri, right? And I say my husband. Is it my husband's name? It's not his name. So the legality of it is, unless you have mentioned the name, you're not. It's your story. It's my story. It's not nobody else's. If anybody has an issue with it, and I understand where you're coming from, if anybody has an issue with it, then you have your story to tell.
So you didn't get any of that kind of reaction that folks
I,
said, "Oh, why did you write that? Did you have
oh
to
yes,
say it like that?
yes,
Did you have to be so
yes.
open?"
A lot of people questioned why I wrote so candidly. A
Hmm.
lot of people, and they attribute it to some things that they have called me in the past, bold, all sorts of things. So you see, I think we've gone past hiding,
Hmm.
and we are now living in a very open environment. People are more aware of a lot of things that are going on. And if it doesn't take one person to do it, if it doesn't take me, somebody else will do it. You know? So it has to start somewhere. And you see, another thing, children who get abused, they're threatened. They're asked not to say anything. Um, they go to parents, and parents don't believe them. And then they live with those things for the rest of their lives.
Right.
There must be a time they break through. There must be a time. And it might be a negative breakthrough or a positive breakthrough. You have to be able to navigate your life where you want it to go
Right, because it's your life.
because it's your life.
Yeah. And I read the statistics. I'm going
Mhm,
to repeat it without me independently verifying it. And so folks take it as just me repeating what I heard and do your own research.
mhm,
But even if it's not true, even if it's half of what it is, a
mhm.
statistic that said that in Dominica, on the average, there's an average of 7 suicide attempts a week in Dominica among young people.
Yes, I heard
And
that
Dominica is a
thing.
very small
Small place.
community. So an average of one attempted suicide a day
That's a
is
lot.
crazy. It's mind blowing.
It's a lot. I haven't experienced it myself, and attempted it as well,
Wow.
you know. I mean, if you don't find ways to heal yourself, you're going to have some crazy actions out there. So you have to find, you see, for me, the end result is what I'm proud of.
Right.
You know, whatever happened, whatever. And let me put this out there. This is not to say I don't love my family. I love my dad. I love my dad. I so wanted to be
And that
like
comes out
him.
in the book as well. That comes out.
Yes.
Yeah. That
But
closeness. Mhm.
circumstances allowed certain decisions. But the decisions still affect the people that are entrusted to you.
Mhm.
it still affects the people that are entrusted to you. And if it has affected me, and I've tried everything possible, tried counseling, tried ignoring, repressing everything possible, and nothing worked. And the only thing that gave me resolution was to pen my experiences. I am responsible for me.
Right.
So getting permission or getting
Agreement,
um,
or blessing or
from
whatever.
blessing from other people is neither here nor there to me,
Are there.
because at the end of the day, who is responsible for me? Only me.
Right. And I guess that is a very, stark message,
Mhm,
um, that everybody needs to learn. And if you're learning it, it hits you in your face like a truck, like you're running, you smack into a wall.
mhm,
That's what's necessary, because sometimes you hear of this. I guess s- a suicide is the ultimate dark place. Sometimes it's a mental breakdown.
mhm,
Sometimes it's just a behavior that's out of character. Sometimes it's drugs. Sometimes it's promiscuity. Sometimes it's just broken relationships. But a lot of the times we look at that person and that person seems to have everything. Nobody has a perfect life. We know that. But that
mhm,
person seems to have everything that they should need to be okay.
mhm,
And so if we never allow the space where those considerations happen, we are going to wake up one day, and none of us is immune to that,
mhm,
where somebody that we care about has fallen into one of those pits. And we would gladly have them write a book instead of doing what they did,
what they
right?
did. What they did.
but
Mind you, if I did not um, pull myself back, I could be any one of those.
and yeah, yeah.
Any one of those. It, I don't know. I think people have to allow people to find their strength from within, and however they choose to do it,
Give them
just let
permission to do it.
just
Yeah.
yes, just
Don't even give
allow
them permission.
people.
Just accept it and
Just
continue. Yeah.
accept it. It's
Yeah.
not your way of doing it.
Yeah.
It's okay. You choose to go to church and pray. You choose to
Go to the
chant.
bar, have a drink. Do you right?
Do it
Yeah.
exactly how you are able to benefit from it. You know, it's I don't know.
So
It's
as we approach the end, believe it or not, the always is there. Uh, you as a nurse, which is where we started the conversation.
mhm,
You as a nurse, you're a caregiver. You as an author who has chosen to share that life events with the world. What do you think is missing in our families, in our relationships, that can provide that space that we can have those conversations, whether it's one on one or in a family setting or in a community setting? Uh, what do we need to do to be able to know that folk or people are going through those things without it getting to a crisis first?
see family. Let me explain something about family. We all know what the family role is: emotional support, sense of belonging. It's a foundation.
Hmm.
Now, there's this Bible verse that says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he'll not depart from it. While that is, well, I believe it, honestly, because there's no way I am going to train up my child and she will go the wrong way. Reason being, I'm not saying that she will not make mistakes, But when she makes the mistakes and you allow her to make her mistakes or his mistakes, when she or he makes mistakes, you know, direct it, redirect it into something different. So if they're going down a path, for example, um, I don't know if my daughter will allow me to say that, but can I give an example? My daughter was young, and a lot of young girls go through this thing. So she had a phone, and we like to give young children telephones, cell phones. And she was waiting on me at a particular area, and she made a call. She just called. Later on, somebody called me. It was my phone that she had. So later on, somebody called me and said, "Hi, so when are we going to go out?" And I said, "Hi, um, I don't remember having a conversation with you." "Yes, you called me." I said, "No, no, no, I didn't call you." So I said, "Okay, my daughter had my phone, so you realize that my daughter is the one who called you." No, that was a wrong act. Do I go home now and beat down my child and knock her from side to side and da 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 da? Once you do that, you're now setting a dangerous path because she's going to want to explore. But why mommy is so angry? I had to call and say, no, that is not how you do things, and you are exposing yourself to something very dangerous. You cannot do those things. So that was my moment to teach her.
Right.
You understand? Now, the family dynamics now, it's like everybody is just so busy and they don't take the time off to speak to their children. They don't give the children a safe space. My daughter can come to me with anything. She can tell me whatever it is, and I will always be there to listen. Sometimes I don't like it, you know, but that is another opportunity for me to redirect, right? So in terms of family, what we can do is, first of all, need to understand what is your role. Each family member has a role: father, mother, even siblings.
Right.
Understanding that community is important. And we have the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. No, no village is raising my child for me. I will raise my child. So when she goes out in the village, she knows how to behave, you know? And anybody who feels that, at this point, now that I'm putting myself out there, they need any advice, don't hesitate to call me. Don't, in terms of young people, because I'm passionate about those things. You cannot allow a child does something, you knock her up in front of her friends. What do you expect? She is going to retaliate. She is a human being. He is a human being. Now we have a thing say sooty wear. I'm not saying you sooty wear your child, but you provide guidance. Remember, especially the formidable to age 1 to 3, you create the character. You help them to build that foundational character, and as they grow up into adulthood or teen, you allow them to make their mistakes. You guide them. And as they grow older, you be there. You provide a safe space. Those are the things that are important, especially for young people. Because a lot of the issues in the jail, my father this and my mother this. And it's hard. People go out, young children go out. I'm sorry to take your time, but I
No,
need
no,
to say
no.
that. So
This is
young
important.
people go out there, right? And they have friends, and friends influence them to do things. Now they grow up in a proper home, hmm, provided with everything, and some friend influence them to do something that is wrong. I know of situations where a child know that they're stepping into something that is wrong and say, "No, I am not going to." But guess what? Somebody in the community takes the community to raise a child. Say, "Do you want me to hurt you? You are going to do this." But if you train that child to know self will, if you train that child they wouldn't even do it in the first place. You understand? So the family is the foundation, and once you have a dysfunctional family, you just have room for chaos.
Right. And you say that knowing that every dynamic is different. But I what I hear you
Mhm.
say is that you have to create a space where a member of the family feels that they can be themselves, they can admit to anything, including thoughts, including ideas,
Mhm.
and it's going to be received without negative
Judgment.
judgment.
Mhm.
And also be confident that what is the reaction is not going to be one of anger or blame,
Blame,
because
yes.
parents are also not perfect.
Agree.
Your reaction and your advice might not be spot on in the first place, but you have to create that environment where, because sometimes just the reaction, we feel that because we are adults we have the right to be angry,
Hmm.
because we know better. We can tell, how can you do something like that? What were you thinking? Blah 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 blah. And then that creates an atmosphere where the child feels, I cannot say that,
Right.
because I'm going to be judged, and therefore something that happened that was wrong, and they know it's wrong,
Hmm.
but because they don't feel safe to come and tell you, they keep it. And anything that is, the longer something goes on, is the worse it gets.
Hmm.
That's just
Hmm.
how it is. And so
Hmm.
by the time it becomes a crisis,
Hmm.
it's too late. So that's the message I'm getting, that everybody has, in your developmental stage, everybody goes through that darkness at whatever level. Before a tree pops up above the ground, it has to be buried, and it grows down with its roots in darkness
Grounded. Hmm.
before it springs up above the soil. And so
Yeah.
everybody goes through that, and it's necessary to build that metal in a person. But we have to be able to say that when that happens, our family is the space where we can come in
This
and
is this is
feel
just
it's our
safe
safe harbor.
space.
Yeah,
This is just safe space, and it's not. If it's not safe, it's going to be chaotic.
right, right. So I want you to hold up the book again as we come to a close. Hold up the book again. Folks, you see that book, the cover itself is powerful. It says, Bravo Dale, the undressed truth. Get your copy. And I hope the interview didn't give you the impression that it's all about doom and gloom. It is a wonderful, wonderfully well written work. Uh, and Dale is, it is what she says it is. It's the truth that we've covered and dressed in all of its garments and its mask and all of that. And she's ripping it off and saying, "Here I am. Here's the truth." And it's not so bad after all if we look at it and we take it on straight straight on. So we've come to the end of our hour, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to just make some closing remarks, encourage folks. Let's remind them how to get the book, and anything else, whoever it is. I know you acknowledge a few people. You can either repeat or there's some additional, just some closing remarks as we bring this conversation. It may be something that you intended to talk about that I didn't get to ask you. This is when you would say it. All right. So
There
just
was
bring
some
it to a close.
there were some things that I really wanted to mention.
Okay.
Um, in the book, we touched on family and loving your child no matter what, and redirecting them. Um, there are young people that go through trauma, abuse, and some unpleasant things. Don't feel responsible for it. Don't ever feel responsible for it. And people have a way of making you feel, oh, you're just slack, you're just this, you're just whatever. But there must be an origin. Something must have caused. Um, what we're seeing is the effects or the result,
Right.
but the underlying problem is much deeper. Whenever you're in a position where you need to speak out, do not hold back your voice, because I was shut up so many times in my life and I became shy, even afraid to speak in public. This conversation I could not have in the past because I was soft spoken. I got that from my mom. You can't take that away from me. And I was told that I'm speak up, you know. So I became very fearful. So use your voice if you have to, okay? And just be your authentic self, you know. There's nothing better than to be you. Don't be a carbon copy. Don't allow anybody to validate you. You have to find that space inside to know who you are, you know, and just be the best version of yourself. Um, those that I had invited on, if you're still on, I just want to say a big thank you for coming on. And Mr. Anthony, I am so appreciative. I'm so
You're
thankful for you
very
having me
welcome.
on
Very welcome.
your program tonight.
You're very welcome. And a wonderful conversation. And thank you for writing the book. Because as I said, the demonstration to folks that it's okay. It's okay. Even if you feel you've done something wrong, sometimes it's a bigger problem in your head than it actually is. And so don't be afraid to find that space where you can speak out. And those of us who are in our families, make sure that we work towards making our family that safe harbor. You know, I want to recognize TD Joseph. Are you always there? She's in Dominica. She's normally in New Jersey, but she's in Dominica last couple of weeks. Looks like you're not coming back, but she's in and Sharon Dolliver is a writer as well.
Mm.
She's been on the program a few times. She says she can relate. She says she can relate. Writing is good therapy.
Therapy, yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
Sharon is prolific, and then she says Anthony is very good at drawing the pain out in his program, helping the speaker to comfortably heal. I take it as a compliment, Sharon. Thank you very much. Uh, but Dale, I want to thank you. Okay, and you're still very young, so we look forward to
I don't know
number
what you're
two.
talking about. Still very young. I'm almost 50.
But compared to me, you're still very young. Still that
I
way.
have some experience on my head, man.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, we get more. Um, your daughter, Niquella, that's how you say it, Niquella?
Nikela.
Nikella.
Very
Nikella.
proud of your mom.
She says that she
Aww.
is very, very proud of you. We're proud of her too, Nikella. So let's do this again.
I'm in the process of writing another book. It's the
Awesome.
lessons learned.
Right?
Um, yes, so I mean, after having all these experiences, I want to be able to touch somebody and pour into somebody's life positively.
Awesome. Great. And so I want to tell you thank you again and all the best. Continue to enjoy your profession, continue to enjoy writing,
Yes,
and we
yes.
look forward to, you know, seeing what else you've got inside of you that you can share with us. Folks, get your copy of the book. Can you hold up the book a little bit? Get your copy of the book. The cover is just the beginning. The cover is brave and bold, and everything in the book is just as. So bravo, Dale. So I want to say bravo, Dale, for writing your book. You know, yeah, that bravo, right?
Awesome,
Yes,
awesome.
yes, yes. And so all the best.
All right, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. My pleasure. So, folks, there you have it. Another wonderful conversation with a brilliant guest. Is Dale Alexander Dixon. I promised you that it was going to be a wonderful conversation, and it really was. It was, you know, the hour flew by. She's a wonderful, vivacious, energetic young lady, and we really appreciate her. She's skilled, very skilled as a writer. Her, she say she don't want to say story because that makes it sound like fiction, but her storytelling is wonderful. The book is engaging from the time you turn the first page all the way to the end. And so we give thanks. We give a lot of thanks. Soaps, good night. We give a lot of thanks to her for sharing with us and for sharing her talent with us. There's a lot of other works like that out there, folks. Some of them we've had on the program, and we work our way through. I just got a call from a young lady in England. She told me that she just turned 80 years old, and she's written a book and she wants to come on the program to share it with you. The title of her book is Chocolate Chips and Cola. So I cannot wait to have that conversation. She's originally from the village of Dalis, and she called me all the way from London and says, I would like to be on the program to present my book to your audience. And so that warms my heart because that is what being the host of this weekend interview does. I get to meet these folks that I would not have a chance in hell of meeting, and to have conversations with them. And as Sharon says, I like to make them feel comfortable where they talk to me about things that they would not normally talk to a friend, far less a stranger. And I get great pleasure in sharing those conversations with you. Remember, folks, put it on your calendar, September 15th to the 20th, our virtual literary festival. It's on the screen right now. You can go on there to register as a writer. If you need to, you can contact me. You can contact TDN, and we will guide you through. But you're a poet, you're a spoken word, you're prose, you're a fiction writer, you're a non-fiction writer, short story, whatever type of writing that you do. We even allow for, if you're not a writer, but there's a work of there's a writing that really moves you. You can even participate by reading that work or an excerpt from that work. So it's really for everyone. We're going to put our brilliant Dominican writers on display for the entire world to see. So, folks, next week I want to do something. I haven't done politics in a while, and so I'm starting to itch. So I need my dose of politics and economics. The budget address in Dominica was just delivered this week, and so that's what I want to have on tap for us next week. To just maybe we don't do the entire budget, but we pick one or two aspects of it. You can even send comments in the comments what you think we could talk about in terms of the budget. Maybe youth employment. I don't know, industry. We'll pick something and we will discuss it next week. That I know is when we look at the statistics, our largest numbers always come with our largest numbers always come and reactions always coming for our political slash economic shows. So that's what we'll have on tap. We're going through a heat wave in New York where I am, so stay cool. If you're in Dominica, stay safe, stay cool, and we will do this again next week, Wednesday. Another episode of This Week in Interview. Give us a like, subscribe. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube, check out the YouTube channel as well, and you can see all the past programs on there. So good night, everybody. Have a great remainder of your week. Good night.